Hey, boys and girls. Hope everybody's doing fine. It has been a fun Saturday morning for me. Whole bunch of stuff is going on, and I will be telling you guys soon what's going on. I just need maybe till Monday or Tuesday to figure it out, like to confirm certain things. And yeah, just super excited, super happy. Um, I am planning to change the name of the the channel from Zoe Still Moving About, which is very long and drawn out and very narcissistic, to Zoe SMA Productions, which is Zoe Still Moving About, like in a smaller sense. That should make sense, right? So there's that. But I had a short time to stream today. I have a short time to stream today, and I just thought I'll fill you guys in on certain news that's happening around the world. So so yeah, let's just jump right into it and see what we can find. Mm, yeah, I think it's working. So obviously, you know, there's a few stories coming out of Afghanistan. So we watched a little video about that. There is, you know, NNT. We have Crooked News. We have Bangkok Post as well. So let's just get right on it. But first, thank you so much for the subscribes and the views and the love that I get on and off stream. Mostly off stream. I don't know why, but yeah. But like you know, there's I do appreciate it. And secondly, thank you for showing some love to Rob yesterday. I do want to apologize about that, because what happened yesterday was, since it was the first time I had somebody over, like sitting with me, like next to me, the mic, which is a really crappy mic that I have, I'm actually almost embarrassed to show it, because the mic I'm using at the moment. So so yeah, we couldn't hear him much, but I will re-edit it. I won't re-upload it. I'll just re-edit it and then increase the sound, and hopefully that should help. Rob was really happy to have joined us yesterday, and he's happy to come back at some point. He works as a volunteer for Canadian Chamber of Commerce, so I would like to work with them to some extent as well. And you know, we'll have him back. But my apologies for the sound issues yesterday. I'm planning on getting a better mic. Let's see what happens. So yeah, let's start with NNT for now. With NNT, we have Thailand's NHSO reporting that families of 222 people who died or suffered severe reactions while after getting COVID-19 vaccinations have received compensation from the government. Holy crap, they paid 110 million baht to 2,875 people who were proven to having had an allergic reaction to COVID-19 vaccine. They will compensate each patient based on their medical condition. According to the NHSO, which is the Thailand National Health Security Office, 2,641 people who needed to have regular medical treatment were paid a lump sum of 100,000 baht. 12 people who suffered disabilities were paid 240,000 baht, and families of 222 people who died were paid 400,000 baht. The doctor added that the compensation is not the government's acceptance that the person's condition has been caused by the vaccine, but it is paid to ease their suffering. Interesting. People can ask for compensation through vaccination points, blah blah, the provincial public health offices and NHSO area offices. A subcommittee will consider their petitions and set the compensation amount. If they do not agree with the compensation, they can appeal within 30 days. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, and he's not anti-vax, but he does not feel that vaccinations should be forced. And to some extent, I do agree with it, but I mean, we're all adults here. We do disagree and agree, right? I feel that vaccinations are important. I do feel that they have not been completely tested, which is unfortunate, but I think that's just the natural cycle of how things go, right? I mean, a disease comes up. We don't have any cure to it, and trial and error just keeps on going on and on and on. And I'm guessing in a few years, maybe 5 years down the lane, we will be like, oh, we finally figured out what had to be done for the COVID-19 vaccine. It is a shame that we lost a bunch of people to the vaccine, though. I have a feeling that that conversation is not too far away at the moment. But yeah, let's see what happens. We have managed to cure a lot of diseases, and maybe we will end up curing this one as well. I mean, not maybe. It is, like I said, a natural cycle of things. It is gonna happen. So yeah. Let's check out the photos. The most recent one was 4 hours ago. Excuse me. So like the domestic COVID-19 cases in Thailand on Friday, which was yesterday, were in the northeast area, which has a whole bunch of names I can't pronounce, but Kalasin has 24, Konkan has 121, Chayapum has 44, Nakhon Phanom has 20, Nakhon Ratchasima has 296, Ben Khan is 9, Buriram is 79, Mahasarakam is 40, what is this? Mukdahan is 12, Yasuton is 51, and Roy it is 80. Louis, Sisaket, Sakon Nakhon, Surin, Nong Khai, Nong Guab, Lampu, Amna Charon, Udon Thani, Udon Ratchathani. I'm never gonna do that again. But the local these domestic cases in these areas is a total of 1,419 people. In the east side, does not is not important for us at the moment. I'm looking for Phuket and the north, basically. So Krabi 63, Champon is 104, Trang is 29, blah 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 blah. In Phuket, we have 227 cases yesterday, which is actually one of the higher numbers that we have managed to achieve. So we have a total of 1,934 domestic cases in the south. That's a pretty big number. Unfortunately, we have like sad emoticons here as well, because well, it is sad. There's no reason to be happy about this shit. The Thai government will be speeding up the vaccination of pregnant women, which is good. Yeah. Fun. In other news of expats going bad on social media, we have reports that Thailand is planning to roll out a new vaccination initiative next month, AstraZeneca and Pfizer doses. We mentioned yesterday, I think, that Pfizer is going to be for the older, elder people, pregnant women, and there's a long list that you can find if you want more input on it. So yeah, we have all of that. That is NNT for you for today. And yeah, so that's all news now. Let's come back. Let's come to Phuket news. We have so special permission no longer needed for residents to come back. I wanted to address this because there has been a lot of confusion Unfortunately, I don't know why. I mean, well, I do kind of know why it is. The fact that there is a lot of miscommunication, there is not enough communication during these, these crazy times, and there's a language barrier as well. And a few days ago, I reported that, and there was a foreigner who went to a hospital to get vaccinated. The agencies, like the government agencies, are like, he should have just come and registered for a dose in the future, but he said that he had left. He was completely refused and he left. So there's always like, miscommunications happening, unfortunately. But in terms of this particular one, they say special permission no longer needed for residents to come back. As though a few people I know, I'm not going to name anybody, a few people I know, they actually have come back recently from Bangkok, for example, and they were asked for a recent PCR test, a COVID vaccine jab paper, like, that they're going to get it, or they have already gotten it. Not, they will get it, that they have already received the jab. And the third was a work permit. They basically said that, oh, we live in Phuket, so we want to come to Phuket and get the vaccination. And so, like, the people just told them to go. But, in the media, people are saying that permission is no longer needed. So again, it's always good, I guess, to ask ahead, to call ahead, to have as much paperwork, I guess, you can ready, just to make sure that, if you don't want to waste time and money, something that all of us have little of these days because of, jobs and COVID and businesses going down, it would probably be a good idea for you to check beforehand, before you make the trip. It is not a very expensive trip, but for people who are having issues in terms of money, it is not a cheap trip. So, I would suggest that, if you're coming down to Phuket, please find out more before you come in. Plot aims to oust, blah, not covering that. Financial support for 500 students in Phuket. Wonder what that's about. Let's read this out. The move to have Phuket boats be allowed to provide sealed tours to seabox tourists, seafarers, and divers has gained momentum. At an official meeting, presented a detailed plan. The plan is called the Phuket Boating Andaman Sandbox. It aims to have local dive and other marine tour operators conduct sealed tour holidays for tourists coming to Phuket. The plan, if approved, will allow tourists to land on Phuket and be safely escorted directly from the airport to an ALQ hotel for one night, where they will undergo a PCR test, then board the boat to enjoy the first week of the holiday. So a week on a boat doesn't sound like a bad idea, man, to be very honest. Under the project, the tourists will observe their 2-day quarantine and 5-day trips, including 2 mandatory COVID tests conducted in an ALQ hotel before boarding the boat and upon disembarking the boat at the ALQ hotel. The plan has been drafted in detail, blah, blah. He asked the proposal, the Phuket Vice Governor, Kon Pichit Panapong, asked that the proposal be fine-tuned with TAT, Phuket, and Phuket Harbour Department, so it can be presented directly to high-level officials in Bangkok. The plan has been well received, noting that a senior official from the Ministry of Tourism and Sports called him to thank him for the good job. How cute. At this stage, they want to limit the tours within the confines of the 7-day plus 7-day scheme, so that the tourists spend their first night in a hotel on Phuket and return to spend the 7th night in Phuket, so they can be tested for COVID. They also want to limit the sea tours to 3 main areas. The first area is the North Route, for diving and yachting to be to the Similin and Serene Island National Parks. The second area is Phuket, Phang Nga, and Krabi. That's a big area, including the Phang Nga, Thanbok, Korami, Hat Naporat, Noparat, Tharamu, Kopipi, and Kolanta National Parks. The third is a southern route for diving and yachting at these locations, Pipi and Kolanta, and this one. Right now, tours to places like Ko Tarotao National Park are off the table unless they open the sandbox and sea box in Seton province. Obviously, you know, the marine industry has very unfortunately been part of, like, you know, the whole economic meltdown that was in Thailand and the rest of the world, obviously. So, you know, this is actually a really good positive piece of news that, you know, we're looking at. So there's that. New Space Jam. Blah blah. So yeah, I have some friends in the boating industry. Let's talk about this. Andaman Sea shown. There was Phuket Race Week. After 1 year hiatus due to pandemic restrictions, organizers pulled out all the stops and worked with the Thai yachting community to put on a successful 3-day sailing event with 10 boats taking part in 3 classes. Close racing was the name of the game. Blah 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 blah. A lot of fun was had, basically. For those of you who don't know, Phuket Race Week is a work done by Mr. Byron of 102.5 and 91.5 radios on the island, and you know, a genuinely good guy. I'm glad that we discussed holding the event with key members of the local sailing community, and they were all keen to go ahead, said Byron Jones, Managing Director of Organizers Media Business Services Co. Limited. We moved from our traditional July slot to August to accommodate local needs, and while we had to ensure all was in line with local authority rules and COVID measures, the event went off without a hitch, and everyone who took part had a great time. There is that. What is his last statement? We have been overwhelmed by the number of local sponsors and supporters who have stepped up to help us put on the event. That's what Mr. Byron said. So yeah, this was actually a pretty good event. I heard about it. They couldn't go obviously to it because of work, but let's see if there are some pictures of friendly faces. So, you know, we have a whole bunch of multi-hulls here. We have Mas Alegre that is with Java Yachting. What else? And thank you, obviously, Scott Murray for these awesome, beautiful photos. So there is that. As for the last one is Bangkok Post, and then I would want to go into the Afghanistan video, and we might just call it a night after that. Let's see what's happening in Thailand in the latest news. And if you want to buy a boat, there's one right here. So Koh Lan is open in Chonburi, near Pattaya or Pattaya. 19 illegal Myanmar migrants held in Tak. Chonburi logs 20 COVID deaths. 955 cases. That's 1,000 cases. Wow, that's crazy. Let's talk about this a little. So obviously, staff are always in danger in restaurants because there's so many people coming in from different places, and you never know if someone's vaccinated or someone's sick or not. There was actually a burger joint, and I mean, it's still open. They're doing great, but a couple of months ago, they had a patient who contacted them saying that I have COVID, so just letting you know. And unfortunately, the lady who had a booming business at that point, she had to leave. She had to go into quarantine with her daughter, so it's a mother-daughter setup. And I mean, think about an entire week of business just gone because of it. So let's read what they're doing to protect these cool people. The government has geared up for a mass vaccination plan for restaurant staff following the easing of COVID-19 curbs and the resumption of dining in at restaurants. Inspected a vaccination program for staff members under the Thai Restaurant Association. Over 1,000 restaurant operators and staff were vaccinated on Friday with cross vaccines of Sinovac and AstraZeneca. More than 30,000 out of 63,000 restaurant staff in Bangkok and neighboring provinces have been vaccinated, and remaining ones will be vaccinated within 2 weeks with 5,000 doses a day. The minister has said the ministry will seek more doses to expand vaccinations for this group of people in other provinces because they're considered an at-risk group that has to meet many customers daily. So yeah, I mean, we have to protect people, right? That is what needs to be done. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm happy they're doing it. Coming down to Afghanistan, obviously this is a constant ongoing story, but one that is really interesting. Let's listen in, watch it. This is by Al Jazeera. Before that, thank you Phuket News, NNT, and Bangkok Post for your journalistic services. And this is Al Jazeera tuning in now.
Welcome to the programme. There's been more fighting in the last pocket of anti-Taliban resistance in Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley, with both sides claiming advances. The National Resistance Front, made up of militias and former Afghan security force members, is the last group to hold out against Taliban rule. But the Taliban says the entire country is now under its control. Charles Stratford joins me now from Kabul. Morning, Charles. Conflicting stories, really, from both sides as to who has the upper hand.
That's right, Sohail. We saw last night, I suppose it was about half an hour, 40 minutes of celebratory gunfire in Kabul. It was very loud. I mean, you could actually say that it was a louder and longer celebration than we saw once the US troops finally left. And these were on the back of reports, seemingly by Taliban commanders, unnamed, 3 of them we understand, from that area, Panjshir Valley, that were saying that the Taliban had full control of the valley. Since then, those reports have been heavily refuted. We understand that there is ongoing fighting. This is a large area. It is heavily defended by the NRF, by these opposition forces. We understand that the Taliban have surrounded the area. We've known that, certainly according to the Taliban, for the last few days. But it was late last night when video was leaked out from the valley, purportedly sent to a journalist with the BBC. And that video shows the former Vice President of Afghanistan, Amrullah Saleh, sitting in a room with books behind him saying, today is the 3rd of September and these reports about the Panjshir Valley having fallen are completely baseless, a total lie. He said that the resistance would continue. And saying that he was very much ensconced in the valley itself. It's very difficult to get any solid information from inside the valley because communications has been blocked by the Taliban. We were close to the entrance around about this time yesterday morning. The fighting was heavy when we arrived, and we spoke to a lot of civilians, a lot of terrified civilians in that area, and this is our report.
Smoke rises over the town of Gulbahar, the entrance to the Panjshir Valley in northeast Afghanistan. Neither the Soviets during the 1980s war nor the Taliban have ever managed to control this mountainous region around 100 kilometers north of Kabul. A shell lands nearby. Taliban fighters ready their weapons. Men in this village say they have driven their wives and children to safety. They are angry and scared.
The Americans betrayed us. President Ghani betrayed us too. You left us under the cannons and tanks, and we can't stop either side fighting. How much can they kill their brothers? How much can they kill their fellow Afghans? They have to stop fighting.
The Taliban drive American military vehicles and pickup trucks, taking fighters to and from the front line. Thousands of men like these across.
No way I'm ever going to say that they did a good job here, and I doubt that they would honestly say the same. But they're creating this stupid fucking narrative right now that, oh, we did our best, but they messed up, but the others messed up. So basically, you went into a country, you destroyed it, you messed around for 20 years, made it into a playground for your freaking bombs and military research, and now you left, and now you're still blaming the locals, the local forces, and everybody else except yourself to say that, to protect your own integrity in the eyes of the world. People are seeing through the bullshit, America. People are, but it doesn't matter. I guess the loudest people in the room are the strongest eventually in this respect, which is so pathetic and sad, but that is just the reality of, all of this. So sad.
Afghanistan have known little else but conflict and war all their lives.
The fighting started 3 days ago. Now we've taken a lot of areas up there by the antenna. We have no issue with the civilians. We are here to defend their rights. People are staying in their homes.
The National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, or NRF, is believed to be several thousand strong and made up of mainly ethnic Tajik fighters and former Afghan army soldiers. The group is led by this man, Ahmad Massoud. He's British military academy trained and the son of Ahmad Shah Massoud, who fought against the Soviets and the Taliban. He was assassinated by Al-Qaeda 2 days before the 9/11 attacks in 2001. Ahmad Massoud is demanding the Taliban form an inclusive government which guarantees the rights of all Afghanistan's ethnic minorities, including ethnic Tajiks, who make up around a quarter of the country's population. The fighting started after 2 weeks of negotiations with the Taliban collapsed.
We have a lot of equipments with ourselves. We will defend from our valley, from our territory until we have one drop of blood in our body. So we will resist until we martyr in here.
Taliban fighters edge up a slope along tracks they say are heavily mined. As we were getting ready to go live, another shell landed close by. The Taliban has blocked phone networks in the valley. There are growing fears about the estimated 150,000 people living inside and many in Taliban-controlled areas around Gulbahar.
The big concern is that Massoud's forces are coming round on the mountain ridges and trying to surround this area in order to isolate Gulbahar.
We left in Gulbahar, but now we are leaving. Today I came from Kabul to collect our belongings. I already took my family out. The fighting is ongoing. There are shells hitting people's homes. Both sides are shelling.
Afghan families flee for their lives in one of the last pockets of resistance to Taliban rule.
So there are also reports last night from Taliban Taliban commanders that a town called Biryan, which is just north of the Panjshir Valley, basically on the border of the next northern state, had been taken by the Taliban. Even that is impossible to concern. As I say, this area is incredibly isolated, very difficult to get to, and certainly the Taliban are telling us that all areas around it, a lot of them are heavily mined. What's got to be stressed, though, is that the NRF, this group that are fighting the Taliban in the valley, are heavily armed. We understand that they've been stockpiling weapons, some people are saying for actually decades. The weapons never stopped flowing into there after the end of the war with the Soviet Union. So we know they're heavily armed. We understand they could have up to, some reports of up to 10,000 fighters, but it's very difficult to get supplies in. So there are huge concerns now for the, as I say, around 150,000 people living in there. We understand the majority of them Tajiks. And also on a political level as well, it's very interesting because people are saying that although we've been waiting for this government to be announced, the formation of a new Taliban government, many people here are saying there's no way that a government can be announced if it's to be inclusive like the Taliban have promised it will be, when they're fighting what effectively is another war in the Panjshir Valley against a very significant ethnic minority. Tajiks are about a quarter of the population of this country. So this problem, this conflict has huge ramifications for a vast amount of civilians caught in the middle, and obviously the political stability of this country and the Taliban's efforts to, as they say, start again.
This is the narrative I'm talking about that's created in the world. Check this out. So if you research on YouTube, you will find interviews that the VP started doing over 2 years ago, advising the world and America that Pakistan was backing the Taliban, and what the Taliban's plan was. He also requested an election to be held for the from the outside of Afghanistan to put a legit government in place and to listen to what the Afghan people wanted. This was supposed to be done prior to exit of the US. This VP was the man who found Bin Laden in Pakistan for the US, and this is how they're paying, and please do your research. So Teresa Saveri, this is an Indian person. While I don't have any issues with Indian people in general, the things that they have been taught over the years has basically allowed them to think that this is what they believe to be the truth is the truth. For example, the Pakistan was backing the Taliban. Pakistan was never backing the Taliban. There are people in Pakistan who back the Taliban. I agree with that, but Pakistan in general does not. Also, when they did find Bin Laden, there was a lot of it was basically like a, what do you call that? Like a tug of war with Pakistan in the middle, and there was the Taliban, and there was the US military. And so it was like, okay, who do we go towards? Because Taliban was telling Pakistan that they'll bomb their ass. The US was saying that they'll bomb Pakistan's ass. So who do you actually go towards? The people who actually let you live. And there is obviously a whole situation of right and wrong as well. But it's just sad that these are things that have been indoctrinated in people's minds. I met an Indian woman in Phuket who claimed, and this is around the time when the Indian army and the Indian government was not allowing Kashmiris, which is the part between Pakistan and India that is there's a huge mess over there. She actually said that the Indian government and military are not allowing the Kashmiris to have any communications whatsoever, because if they talk to their parents, if they communicate with their families, they will become terrorists. So that's why India and the Indian military is basically trying to educate them, as Nazi as that fucking sounds, and this pissed me off, they are educating them to be better people while by not letting them communicate with their families. And I asked this woman then, what would happen if you and your mother could not communicate all of a sudden without any warning, without anything else, that she doesn't know if you're dead or alive, and you don't know if your mom's dead or alive? What would happen to your fucking brain? And then she said, yeah, that's all right, but like, we have to look at what we're trying to do. So it's as Nazi as, I mean, you're basically, it's technically a concentration camp. And then you're trying to teach them, except in Nazi Germany, concentration camps were not there for education. They were there for killing Jews. However, in China, the Uyghur Muslims are being kept in concentration camps, and they are being indoctrinated and educated in a different way. They are being sterilized as well, so they can't have any more kids. And there's no freedom of speech, there's no freedom of education, there's no freedom of religion. And that's very similar. Imagine this, the Uyghur Muslims in China, nobody talks about them. And the Kashmiris in India, and between India and Pakistan, nobody talks about them, because both of them are being controlled by actual major powers. Like, China is a much bigger power than India, but there still are major powers that are controlling a certain group of people for their own, for their own needs or wants, or whatever the fuck you think you're going to get out of fucking. I'm out of words. Controlling a certain group of people for your own, not happiness, for your own advantage, or to your own advantage. I hope that makes sense. But the only reason I brought that shit up is because this person said the world's militaries couldn't win against these boys, but you think some puppets of Britain and Israel can? Ah ha 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 ha. So this is some douchebag who's actually a Taliban sympathizer. That's also wrong. That's fundamental theories. That's also wrong. So no, I'm not going to side with this idiot either. So there's an Indian who's basically attacking, Pakistan and whatever, and then there's probably, I'm not going to say he's a Pakistani, I just don't know. The name Saviri was Indian, that's why I mentioned that, but King is not a Pakistani name, it's just some random YouTube name. And this person is against probably India, and he's a Taliban sympathizer, so that's wrong as well. And then this person says they didn't try hard enough. Well, you are definitely correct now that they will be backed by China and Russia. So while India doesn't get along with China, apparently anybody citing any Muslims rising into power, or any fundamental Muslims rising into power, automatically it becomes that China is backing those people up. China is not backing Taliban. Where the fuck do you get this information? They are not backed by China and Russia, for God's sakes. And this bullshit about they didn't try hard enough, then maybe India should send their fucking military to Afghanistan and see what they can try, how they can try hard enough. I don't understand this stupid fucking logic. Of course, they can defeat them. They could be obliterated, but U.S. war dogs and corporations fund both sides of the war to keep the money rolling in. If you think this is about desert, tribes, or religion, you are sorely uneducated. Thank you, dude. Thank you, River D. Because that's basically what every normal person, I'm not talking about smart, any normal person would think and see, that literally military corporations have made so much fucking money that everybody thinks that, oh, this was all about women's rights and freedom of speech and bullshit like that. It literally, they don't give a shit, man. America doesn't give a shit if other fucking countries have freedom of speech or their women have right. They don't give a fuck, dude. However, check out the next comment. What about the people? This war had to be won and finished. Now this war is a big mess. There is nothing to be proud to fight in a mess. So, and this is the sadness of people who believe anything, because they're basically saying that this war had to be finished for the people. They don't know that they don't realize that this was never about the people. It was about military upgrades. It was about advances in military technology for 20 years. Can you imagine how much US has advanced for 20 freaking years in Afghanistan? Every single thing they wanted to test out except a fucking nuclear bomb, they tested that shit. And they got all the money. So there's that. Yep, that's true. Fuck you, Gunny. Seriously, man. He took what, $168 million over fucking night and ended up in fucking Dubai. Like, fuck you, Dubai. Like, fuck you, UAE. For accepting that. And this is why Saudis are some of the most hated Muslims in the world. Most Muslims I have talked to fucking hate Saudis. And this is the reason why. Because they think they're the best. They think all Muslims are worse off than them, and for some reason, I mean, yeah, well, we know the reason. Money and oil and gold, they have all that, so the US bows down, onto them. I mean, that's just a huge fact. I mean, that's not even something that that anybody can make up. Anyways, rant over.
Charles Stratford there for us in Kabul. Thanks for the update, Charles. Now, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he'll travel to Qatar and Germany to visit diplomats and troops, as well as Afghans evacuated from Kabul. Now, he says the Taliban must honour its commitments if it wants relief from sanctions.
So check this out. There are apparent sanctions towards the Taliban, right? What about Israel? What about the Israeli army that you fund on a daily fucking basis to kill innocent Palestinians and destroy their houses and ruin their families and their lives? Why are there no sanctions towards Israel? Why are there no sanctions towards Israel? Clip this shit. Why are there no sanctions towards Israel? Yeah. Anyways, this was Saturday Night News with Zoe SMA Productions. Hopefully I'm keeping that name. Thank you so much for watching, people. This has been entertaining. It has been short. It's not been sweet. It has definitely been entertaining because this is what the news of the world is. You know, there's no good things coming out of it, so might as well just, you know, blow up and see what's good. So people, what's good? The weather in Phuket is very beautiful today. I saw oh yeah, here's some reporting from my own side. Let's do this. Here's some reporting from my side. So I was passing Patong Beach today. Looks splendid. If you get a chance, please go to Patong and check it out because it's really beautiful. It's really pretty. Ever since the country shut down, it's fucking clean. It's so clean. The beaches are blue. Patong beach is blue. That was a surprise in and of itself, because from my memories of Patong, and I've stopped going for a year and a half because of COVID and stuff, but Patong used to smell like piss. Like, that's Patong's thing. It used to smell like piss. Right now, it smells so nice. It smells so natural and so clean and clear. That is definitely something you should do if you are free, maybe tomorrow, because I think the sun's going to be out again and the beaches are just beautiful. So check out Patong. The roads were nice. There was no traffic, hardly any traffic, apart from some annoying people who were driving extremely slow for some reason on the main roads up and down the hills. But things are decent. So if you are planning a vacation to Thailand, although on this channel I have constantly said that during a global pandemic, maybe sit your ass down in your own country and come later. But if you do end up coming, go to Patong. Try to take care of some small businesses. There are very few places open, but there are some shops that are open. It was good to see massage parlors open again as well. Obviously there were not many people in it. In fact, the 2 massage shops I saw, there wasn't any customer. But I'm glad to see that Thai people are trying to fight to survive, and they've done a fantastic job. There have obviously been a lot of businesses that have gone down under, which is really, really unfortunate, but I guess this is a reset that we all didn't want. I don't sue me for this, but I think this is a reset that the world needed, but the world did not want. Planes don't fly anymore, and so many other things. The natural environment is so much better. The marine life has returned to the beaches of Phuket and the beaches of Thailand in general, the oceans, the Andaman Sea. Dolphins have come up again. There's an increased level of marine life that has showed up, and things are cleaner as well. And obviously thanks to people like Michelle from Sustainable My Cow, who showed up and had a talk with us about everything that she's doing. I feel that all of these things have helped for a year and a half now. So anyways, thank you so very much for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe to this channel, like this video if you liked it, and keep supporting. And if you guys have any ideas, I'm always open to invite different people over, either through directly through the screen, or they can sit beside me here, and we can have a chat. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.